Courage. It's something that we all have to find within ourselves from time to time. But too often, self-doubt can get in the way of one's confidence. National speaker, mentor, and author Candace Doby was born and raised right here in Columbia, and she's just released her new illustration and journaling quote book called A Cool Girl's Guide to Courage. Well, Candace is joining us today on Midday to talk about her new book and also share some tips on how to help build confidence and live life courageously. Candace, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So you're a motivational speaker and a mentor. Both your previous book and this one focus on courage. So can you first start off by telling us your courage story?
Absolutely. I mean, I have so many courage stories, but one of the biggest ones is in 2018, I quit my corporate job. I left a cushy job with a company car and lots of money because I had a vision to share courage and to help young emerging leaders conjure their courage so that they could perform to their potential. And so that purpose was calling me and big enough for me to quit my job. It took a lot of courage, a lot of things that I now teach. I had to conjure in myself to be able to do that.
You have several clever and catchy anecdotes in the book. One that caught my eye: it's hard to secure the bag with baggage. What did you mean by this?
Yeah, secure the bag. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to this phrase. It means that your goal, you're going after some worthy pursuit. And sometimes that's even money. So it's hard to go after our goals when we have a lot of baggage, when we have stress and worry and tension and fear that are weighing us down. So if you want to secure the bag and go after your goal, you got to get rid of the baggage.
Well, finding your courage, finding your confidence, a lot of people might say, well, where do I start? And in the book, you talk about some habits that women can take on to help build up courage. That first tip: entertain your discomfort. Talk about that.
Absolutely. If we're going to act courageously, if we're going to step outside of our comfort zone, then we're going to have to be uncomfortable. And so every time we are met with discomfort, we can't run away from it. We can't go back into the comfy, familiar corner. We have to learn how to entertain it. And sometimes that just means sitting down and settling into your discomfort so that you can feel it, so that it becomes familiar.
That second one, reminding yourself of your strengths.
Yes, absolutely. Our brains, the first thing that we want to do when we feel fear or we feel discomfort is we want to run. And so the negativity can be more noticeable and consequential than the positive, the things that we can remember to help us move forward. So it becomes really important to be intentional about remembering our wins and our strengths and all the lessons that we've learned along the way. That's really important work if we're going to act courageously.
Your next tip, Candace: evaluate risks. And this can be that one that could be the wall or that block before making a decision or taking that next step.
Here's the thing. If we're going to act courageously, we have to be able to appropriately evaluate risks. We can't just look at the downside of risk. What will happen if this goes wrong? We also have to look at what is the risk of us not taking the action. So what is the risk of not auditioning for the team or applying for the program? And that risk often is very personal. We will hold ourselves back personally if we don't also evaluate that risk.
Next tip: review your values, and these can change over time, right?
They can. And as young people, I think we don't necessarily think enough about our values. We leave that for older people, for them to review. But it's really important for us to connect with our values, because when the going gets tough, when we're acting courageously and stepping outside of our comfort zone, the thing that is going to help us persevere through all of the difficulty and fears that we experience is our values. Those are our anchors. And so it's important for us to be able to recognize them and keep them close when we're encountering challenges.
One last tip, Candace: making your own decisions. I know this one can be a tough one.
Absolutely. The thing about courage is that it is your personal choice to act courageously. You don't get a cookie or a gold star for doing something that someone else told you to do. So part of the work that we can do is to make our own decisions every single day and not delegate them to other people, but make them ourselves, even the easy decisions. And so if we can build up that habit of just thinking and deciding for ourselves, when we get into really big places where we have an opportunity to act courageously, we can lean on that understanding.
Your book also has a journaling element to it. And of course, through this pandemic, mental health has been a huge topic. So how can your book help with this?
Mental health, the healthier we are mentally, the better we can make decisions, the better we feel. And so this is a book where it provides girls and young women and grown women a space for them to be able to get the thoughts out of their head that might be weighing them down, negativity or confusion or uncertainty, and write it on the page. This book specifically asks them about their fears. It asks them about risks that are in their way. So they don't have to just consider them in their head, but they can actually write it down on paper and start to get clarity. That's the beauty of it.
Candace Doby, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing these amazing tips. A Cool Girl's Guide to Courage is now available where books are sold in stores and online.